Chad Eric Smith, who's sitting in the front row, is an actor and an activist, a musician and composer, a writer and director, an award-winning filmmaker and performer, whose roles encompass those of an ex-con on probation, a tortured sinner in the afterlife, and a hemophobic vampire. It means he's afraid of blood. He fell in love with acting as a student here at the University of Pitt-Greensburg, where he performed in several stage productions: Picasso at the Lapine Gilles, that was before my time, Grease, Noises Off, Mother Courage and Her Children, and The House of Blue Leaves. You can see the pictures of those, some of those, out in our lobby. After graduating with a Bachelor's of Science in Psychology, we couldn't tempt him into visual performing arts, unfortunately, Chad has played a variety of characters in close to a dozen stage plays in theaters in and around Pittsburgh, including with the internationally renowned Kuntu Repertory Theater. Among other credits, in 2015, he starred in the critically acclaimed 8-episode web series on YouTube entitled Counselor. Excellent series, you should check it out, in which he received an Indie Capital Award nomination for Best Supporting Actor. I thought you were the star of that, not the supporting actor. That's just me. This is only one of the several nominations and awards bestowed on Chad, and he's our speaker today. This is the year of diversity at the University of Pittsburgh, and I thought, who could I get to speak on diversity? Chad Eric Smith.
Thank you. Good afternoon, and thank you again, Professor Shrum, for the honor of being your keynote speaker today. Again, my name is Chad Eric Smith, and I'm a proud alumnus of the University of Pittsburgh at Greensburg. As Dr. Shrum said, I'm an actor, musician, writer, film director, and an activist. I performed on this stage several times. In fact, it was on this stage that I fell in love with theater and the art of acting. I even had a band on campus here. We were called Soothing Sensations because we made soothing, sensational music. I enjoy telling stories. I relish in being a storyteller. We all have them, stories. In fact, we are each the protagonist to our own. Let me start off with a short story about the first time I set foot on this campus as a student. It was the late summer of 2004, and my mother had driven us 4 hours from my hometown of Washington, D.C. to Greensburg, Pennsylvania for summer orientation. Weeks prior, I had received my dorm room assignment and learned who my roommate would be. I received his contact, he received mine. We chatted on the AOL Instant Messenger. Y'all remember? No? Okay. AOL Instant Messenger. And we asked general and specific questions to get to know each other. His name was Jimmy, and he was a cool guy. So that summer day, we get to campus, I step out of the car, and as soon as I step out of the car, I hear a voice yell out, "Hey, Chad!" And my mom said, "Gee, Chad, you're already popular." And it turned out it was Jimmy. He walked up to me, and I said, "Hey, man, how'd you know it was me?" And he said, "Well, you told me you were black." And I was like, okay. Considering I was coming from a place we once affectionately called Chocolate City, being on this campus was the first time in my life in which I felt like a minority. By the way, D.C. was called Chocolate City because it was for a long while predominantly African American. From kindergarten to my senior year in high school, almost 100% of my classmates were black. Most of my teachers were black. Our mayor has always been black. My newscasters were black. Even my mom and dad are black. So when I came to Pitt-Greensburg, it was obvious that I brought a certain level of diversity to the campus. I was only slightly anxious. More than that, I looked forward to sharing my story and hearing the stories of others. As an artist, telling my own stories is cathartic. French visual artist Annette Messenger once said, "Being an artist means forever healing your own wounds and at the same time endlessly exposing them." I believe this to be true. But art isn't, or at least shouldn't be, just about the artist shining the light on him or herself. It's also about embracing, highlighting, and sharing the stories of others. One of my favorite quotes is by actor Tom Hiddleston, who said, "Actors in any capacity, artists of any stripe, are inspired by their curiosity, by their desire to explore all quarters of life, in light and in dark, and reflect what they find in their work. Artists instinctively want to reflect humanity, their own and each other's, in all its intermittent virtue and vitality, frailty, and fallibility." I believe that one of the qualities that makes a good human being is an abundance of empathy. I'm currently a consultant at the national nonprofit Men Can Stop Rape, which mobilizes men to use their strength to create cultures free from violence, especially violence against women. I provide technical assistance for Department of Justice grantees through their Office of Violence Against Women. And I mentor young men at DC public high schools across the city. I facilitate a primary violence prevention program called the Men of Strength Club. And I try to teach the young men I try to teach them basically empathy. I try to teach the young men I work with how to strengthen their ability to understand and share the feelings of others, because if they can see themselves in others, they'd be less likely to harm them. As Frederick Douglass once said, "It's easier to build strong children than to repair broken men." I believe the most vital building tool is instilling the importance of empathy. Empathy is also helpful to me as an actor because it allows me to understand and share the feelings of the characters I'm playing to better tell the story. I've portrayed, as Dr. Trump said, a variety of characters. Among some of my favorite roles, I played a vampire with an irrational fear of blood in the comedy Dark Therapy. You can see me there, putting makeup. It was like an hour and a half of me in the makeup chair. But that won a couple of awards, and it was fun to be able to write it, to act in it, and I also directed it. So when the camera wasn't on me, I was looking really crazy, telling other people what to do with these long nails and lace front wig. But it was fun. I played a restaurateur with marriage advice in the romantic drama Last Night. I played a mysterious Muslim drifter and fugitive in the psychological thriller The Suffering. And next month, I'll be flying to Florida to play a werewolf who suffers from alopecia in the comedy An Accidental Zombie Named Ted. And yet, even though I like to stay up late, I am not a vampire. I do not own a restaurant, nor am I married. I'm not a Muslim, and I have never been imprisoned. And though I do have male pattern baldness, I have no problem growing hair everywhere else. So how do I play those characters if I don't share their experiences? It's simple. Circumstances differ from person to person, but we all feel. So how does empathy connect to the broader topic of diversity? Well, in many ways. For one, according to a 2015 study conducted by psychology scholars at the University of Queensland, increased contact with people from different races can increase our empathy towards others. They were literally able to prove, using MRI technology, that being exposed to people who are racially different from us can actually change how our brain reacts to them empathetically. Of course, race isn't the only thing that makes us different or our world diverse. We all have different ideas on things like philosophy, politics, religion. In fact, those three things are sometimes the reasons for the fights on battlefields and Facebook. If only the world had more vitamin E, empathy, there would be less fighting and more love and understanding.